Hello, it's Saturday the 27th of June. You're tuned in to our 6 p.m. newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broome. Our top story this evening, Korea has reported one more case of Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, bringing the total number of people diagnosed with the MERS virus to 182. The Health Ministry says the latest confirmed case involved a nurse who is believed to have been infected while treating a patient. No more MERS-related deaths have been reported since Friday. The outbreak has killed 31 people in Korea since the first case was confirmed on May 20th. Of the 182 people who have been diagnosed, only 61 remain in hospital, 90, so nearly half, have been sent home after making complete recoveries. Around 2,500 potential MERS patients remain in quarantine, either at home or in the hospital, but the number is decreasing by the day. The authorities say more than 90% of the fatalities in Korea had involved patients with existing conditions such as diabetes or cancer, which were apparently made worse by the virus. Dark clouds continue to hang over Korea's National Assembly in the aftermath of President Park Geun-hye's veto of a controversial parliamentary law. The main opposition party is so incensed that it's boycotting parliament completely until a re-vote is held, a move neither the ruling party nor the National Assembly Speaker say they are willing to entertain. Ji Myung-gil reports.
Korea's ruling Saenuri Party has slammed the main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy, saying the Liberal Party's boycott has unnecessarily paralyzed parliament. A senior spokesman for the ruling party said there's no justification in the MPD's linking of its boycott with the recently vetoed National Assembly law. The Saenuri Party is demanding the MPAD switch its focus back to passing economy-related bills aimed at improving the livelihoods of the people and working to ensure the MERS outbreak is stamped out as quickly as possible. The MPAD is furious with President Park Geun-hye's decision to veto the law and the ruling party's unwillingness to put the law back up for a revote. Under Korea's constitution, a law that has been vetoed by the president can be put up for a vote again if either one of the main parties and the National Assembly Speaker agrees. The controversial law would have enabled lawmakers to seek changes to government ordinances. Justifying her veto decision, President Park questioned the law's constitutionality and said it will violate the separation of powers between the executive and legislative branches. The MPAD also criticized the Saenuri Party's leaders and policymakers for their deference to President Park and for neglecting their legislative duties. Opposition lawmakers have also been imploring National Assembly Speaker Chung Hee-hwa to use his power to call a revote in a show of the Assembly's legislative rights. They stressed the move would allow Chung to regain his authority as a leader in parliament, but the speaker says the issue has been settled. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
Now, if you were out and about in Seoul today, don't be surprised by the higher transportation fares. That's because subway and bus fees in the capital, Incheon and Gyeonggi-do province, have gone up for the first time in 3 years. Under the new system, commuters using their traffic card will now pay 1,251 for a subway ride. That's roughly $1.10. For people taking the green and blue buses that travel within Seoul, fares have risen by 151 to 1,200 won. That's slightly over $1. For Incheon and district buses, fare increases will vary based on the type of bus. Now, the fare for nighttime buses, which run after midnight on limited routes, has risen to 2,200 won, or slightly under $2. Passengers using traffic cards on any type of transportation in Seoul before 6:30 a.m. will be given a discount of about 20% on the basic rate. The European Parliament will hold a two-day hearing on the human rights situation in North Korea next month. Radio Free Asia reports that North Korean defectors will give testimony to European officials in Brussels about Pyongyang's political prison camps. On a related note, North Korea has once again slammed South Korea and the United Nations for the opening of a UN Human Rights Office in Seoul. Pyongyang state-run media says the office has made the possibility of improved inter-Korean ties hardly imaginable. It went on to say that South Korea's hosting of the office was a confrontation and was as foolish an act as planting a time bomb in their house. According to a UN report released last year, there are rampant human rights violations in North Korea, including public executions, torture, starvation and forced abortions. Same-sex marriage is now legal across the United States. In a landmark decision, the US Supreme Court has ruled that gay couples have the constitutional right to marry anywhere in the country. This means the 14 states that have bans in place can no longer enforce them. It was a tight decision, however, with 4 out of the 9 justices opposing the ruling. US President Barack Obama hailed the court's decision just after it was announced.
This morning, the Supreme Court recognized that the Constitution guarantees marriage equality. In doing so, they've reaffirmed that all Americans are entitled to the equal protection of the law, that all people should be treated equally, regardless of who they are or who they love.
The United States is now the 21st country in the world to recognize same-sex marriage nationwide. The Islamic State group has claimed responsibility for Friday's brazen terror attack on a popular tourist resort in Tunisia. At least 39 people have been confirmed dead after an attacker dressed in shorts and hiding his automatic weapon inside an umbrella opened fire indiscriminately on a busy beach on the outskirts of Sousse. Officials say Tunisians, Britons, Germans, Belgians, French and at least 1 Irish citizen were among those killed. At least 36 other people were injured. Now, the suspected gunman, a local student, was killed by police and a further 2 people are understood to have been taken into custody. Tour companies are sending aircraft to bring people back to Europe and allowing those who had booked vacations in Tunisia to change their plans after this awful attack. Now, this attack comes just 3 months after Islamic extremists killed 22 people, mainly foreigners, at a museum in the capital, Tunis. Now, some people retouch their original photos before uploading them onto the internet to make them look better, but the same technology can also be used to illegally manipulate important documents. But help is already here, as a group of Korean researchers have developed a way of quickly and easily spotting changes made to a digital image. Our Son Jung-in has more.
Up until now, the only way for a regular computer user in Korea to know an image had not been faked or altered was by checking whether it was the original file. It's especially difficult given the advancements made in image modification programs like Photoshop in recent years. But now, thanks to a team of Korean researchers, ordinary people are able to verify the authenticity of a photo by simply uploading it onto a website.
We created our website by meshing together a number of programs that are designed to detect changes made from the original file and decipher what type of alterations were done.
The research team developed the software from an idea that modification of a digital image changes the inner statistical characteristics, which allows users to detect the type and extent of alteration methods applied. The development is expected to be applicable in various fields like law, medicine, and the military, where it's critical to verify the authenticity of an image. They hope the technology will help cut down on the falsification of important documents like dissertations, medical images, or legal evidence. The researchers' forensic digital image website can be found at forensic.kist.ac.kr. By sharing the software, the researchers hope to open a new chapter for counterfeit detection technology and establish a stronger social safety net in the country. 손정인, 아리랑 뉴스.
Now, after decades of tireless and concerted effort, South Korea has been able to restore huge swathes of forested land that was stripped bare during the Korean War in the early 1950s. A model for reforestation, Korea's strategies are now being exported to developing countries like Indonesia. Park Se-young has a story.
On this once barren mountain, people built landslide barriers and planted trees as part of a reforestation program. More than 40 years later, it is now covered by a lush, healthy forest.
We established tree nurseries in the community and planted saplings on the mountain. This provided income for the residents and created new jobs.
Korea is now serving as a model for reforestation in Lombok, Indonesia, where over 3,500 square meters of woodland are cleared annually. Although Norway and Japan have provided a $10 trillion budget to help reduce emissions, local residents continue to damage forests due to the lack of other sources of reliable income. Experts from the Korea Forest Research Institute say a more systematic partnership must be established. The residents will have the right to use forest resources but must protect it from excessive damage. Korea could possibly earn 257,000 tons in saleable certified emission reduction credits amounting to about $1.9 million. Should the system prove successful in Indonesia, it will pave the way for the expansion into other Southeast Asian nations. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Now, before we go, taking a brief look at the weather, most of the country is under clear blue skies this early evening. It's going to be a warm night with the overnight low only dipping to 18 degrees Celsius in Seoul. And more blue skies and very warm conditions are in the forecast for Sunday, with highs ranging from the mid-20s to low 30s nationwide. Now let's take a look at the weather in your part of the world. Well, that's all we have for now. Do enjoy the rest of your Saturday wherever you're watching us, and do stay tuned to Arirang TV. We'll be back with our next newscast at 10 p.m. Korea time. Till then, goodbye.